Welcome everyone to the Everything Show, episode 142. I'm your host, Matrix Lord 212. I'm with Modern Age Nerd. What's up, Nerd?
Hey people, I am on my phone. Is it working? She's
Yes,
on.
it is.
Oh, she's good. Yeah, how are you?
All right, yeah, we want to talk about Amazing Spider-Man 2. Now, we both like the movie, but we do want to point out an open mind about certain things that we feel didn't work or certain things that were very drastically different from the comics, right? Now, Why don't you say what you have to say first, Nerd?
What was that? Screw up a bit, me phone.
Yeah, why don't you just say what you have to say first about the movie?
About the movie? Alright, well, all the effects were great. Like, they were really good. I was especially happy with the score this time because I felt this Amazing Spider-Man, the first one, had like no identity to the score at all, like you couldn't remember it. So this one was kind of nice. I think it was Hans Zimmer who did something to that. But yeah, with all that was good. You know, Peter-Gwen relationship, all that was funny and nice. It was fun. You know, everything looked good. Like there was good production value to it all and whatnot. But the thing that just pissed me off was that there was no story to the movie. Like literally,
Yeah, no.
If you said to me right now, what was this movie about? I said, well, Gwen's going to go to college. Peter needs to find out about his parents. Harry's dying from the Goblin Serum. Then there's Electro. He just gets locked up after he gets shot for some reason and is irrelevant to the plot until he comes back at the end. And then there's Aunt May becoming a nurse for whatever reason, just to have her in there at the end. And then there's the bloody Sinister Six going on, and then there's the Daily Bugle, which was dropped. And then there was another one that they deleted about Mary Jane being in the movie. You remember that one?
Right. It was basically a comic book. It was like a oversized annual comic book with subplots. And there was
then again,
nothing was the main story. Right.
Yeah. But we're not making a comic book, we're trying to make a movie here. Movies are movies, narratives are narratives. You've got to stick to a narrative when you're making a movie. That's why Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire, the first two worked so well, because they were just strong narratives that were character-based, and the third one went off. And you think they learned from their mistakes, and the reason they rebooted it is because everyone hated that way they went with the third one, but then they go right back into the mistakes they made with the third one with this one.
Now, they advertised for it as if he's fighting all three villains at the same time, which totally confused the public.
But then Rhino's only in 3 minutes.
Yeah, so which totally confused the public. Then they had basically cut every scene that they advertised the movie with, which was false advertisement.
Which is what I said to you before you'd even seen it. I said the bit, what was the thing you said? Oh, we had you under surveillance, isn't that the question of the day? That line was just completely ripped out of it.
And I can't stand when they do that. Because it's like you're going to see it based on the trailer, and then that's not in there.
It's false advertising.
Yeah, totally false advertising.
They did the same thing with the first movie. They did the exact same thing with Amazing Spider-Man 1, where they had the untold story, and they cut out that Indian guy's saying, like of him saying, "Do you have any idea what you really are?" and all that sort of stuff. Like, there's so much that they cut out. I don't know why. I think it's
really against Mark Webb when he doesn't do anything to do with great power comes great responsibility and all that nonsense.
Yeah.
Because he's trying to do his own thing, and I don't like that. And he's kind of making Spider-Man a little foreign than what I know. Now, I had some things I didn't like. Okay, I'm a reader of the comic. His parents were not, like his father was not Dr. Parker. His father was not
a scientist. They were SHIELD agents, weren't they?
They were spies.
Yeah.
I don't know if they were SHIELD. I don't know. Maybe they may say they're SHIELD agents now.
I think that was Ultimate Spider-Man or something.
Yeah, but this is not Ultimate. Like, they were spies. And they were in danger, and they gave over Peter to May and Uncle Ben. But that was the thing. They were spies. So, and I don't like that Oscorp is behind every single villain there is. That pisses me off too, because that's not the case. Like, the thing that made Spider-Man interesting is everybody had their individual way how they got their powers, the villains. Yeah. And now you put it all as part of... And then, what's the deal with Norman Osborn? He hasn't seen his son in 10 years.
Yeah.
Okay, now he comes and he dies.
Well, we didn't actually see him die. Like, we never saw it happen. That's why I think he's going to come back as the Goblin when they do.
I think so, but they did a Spider-Man 1 where they tried to make it like Harry's losing his company, which is... I don't understand how that happens. That's not really realistic, that with all the legalities of it. I mean, somebody can't just step in and say, I've been running the company where your father's been. That's ridiculous. So I don't believe that. And then they ruined. I'm a big fan of Black Cat. They totally ruined her character because she's not a secretary. Her father's a cat burglar. She was a cat burglar, and then she wanted to get powers. Bad luck powers.
Yeah, unless she's at Oscorp because she's gonna steal something later
that
on.
Would be
she's
different.
been like planning it the whole time. Yeah,
that would be different.
We'll wait for the third one because from what I've heard, they're gonna. The reason they cut Mary Jane out is because they're gonna give Peter some breathing space for a while. So the way I see it is they're not gonna make him go for Mary Jane straight away. In the third one, they'll have Black Cat in there as some sort of love interest, and they'll introduce Mary Jane in the fourth one.
Well, I heard that the last scene in Amazing Spider-Man 3 is late face it, Tiger, you hit the jackpot. Like, after he went through all this, and he's just miserable, but he beat whatever villains, you know, just to show that there's hope or something to look forward to. And he looks at her, and it's like, you know, a wake-up call, like, okay. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know how they're going to do that.
What a way to rush the ending. Did you feel that as well? They just rushed the ending. Like, they should have ended it where what's going on now? Is he going to stop being Spider-Man because Gwen's dead? But then they just resolved that. They just like quickly resolved it in 2 minutes that he's depressed. Little kid needs him to be Spider-Man again. He comes back as Spider-Man in the end. Happy.
I thought there was no reason for the Rhino. Like, I don't understand. Of all things to end the movie, you ended with the Rhino, which was crap. I didn't like anything to do with the character of the Rhino in the movie or the actor playing the Rhino. Not at all. Yeah. And it didn't make sense to me. Hey, let's just give this guy a suit. How did you know this guy's a maniac? He's not going to kill you too. You know, so like I was kind of not happy with it. And you don't end the movie with the Rhino. Okay, that was just like, come on, dude. That's like him fighting the Spot or like I was like, why? You know, and that suit is terrible. The Green Goblin thing was terrible.
Oh, what the hell was that?
They keep getting it wrong with the Green Goblin. He's called the Green Goblin because he looks like a Green Goblin. What is the problem?
Yeah.
How difficult is it to understand that that's why he's called that? He looks like a goblin face, a mask. Okay? They did that with Sam Raimi if you saw the original testing. In the original testing, he looked really awesome. I don't know why they don't want to use it. But he's not Iron Man Green Goblin like he was in Raimi one, and this was even worse. And then you kind of speed it up like the whole, oh, you won't help me with your spider blood. But you don't even know if it's going to work. I don't understand. Like, they've been in research, like his father even, right? Researching to find a cure. He's not just going to inject himself with a cure. So, like, even the son, how could you think that would work if you never even tested it?
Yeah, but then he walks in, right, the door's open, and you see the Green Goblin suit, and he's just a fucking master of combat, and he knows how to work a bloody hovercraft.
Yeah, like, first of all, if the suit is going to stop your degenerative disease, then why did the father wear it?
Yeah.
Which leads me to believe that he is. He does have a suit like that.
But wait, it didn't even show, right, after he was sitting there with Gwen in the clock tower, and he hit Goblin, Goblin's sitting up the top, how did Goblin get arrested after all that went down and all that sort of stuff?
I don't know how even Spider-Man wasn't charged with murder if J. Jonah Jameson was like, you know.
Yeah, but that's what I was going to say. Yeah, but there's a reason for that. Because every time you read the messages from him, I think they're trying to get at something. Because you read the messages and you just think of J.K. Simmons in your head, don't you?
Oh, yeah. He has to be.
You think of it. And Mark Webb said a couple times. He said a couple times that how do you replace J.K. Simmons? It's a lot harder than replacing Tobey Maguire. So someone's telling me the reason they're waiting for a big reveal is because they're just going to bring him back.
They have to. They have to.
He's classic.
He's classic. I don't care if it's a different universe or whatever. He has to. So.
They did it in the animated series as well. He is J. Jonah Jameson.
Oh, in the animated? J.K. Simmons?
Yeah, he does it in the animated show as well.
Okay.
It's who else do you bring back? You've got that stuff in your head the whole time.
Wasn't Agent Coulson an actor?
Yeah,
he was, right?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
But
it's good though.
I'm like, now the guy that's like at the end of the first Amazing and the second Amazing, that's Doc Ock?
No, that's the guy from Daredevil. It's some Daredevil character. Look him up. It's called it's something where I looked at the article
But
the other day. But
he's supposed to form the
the
Sinister
writer or
Six.
someone confirmed. Nah, he's the one who brings them together.
So he forms this. Well, I thought Doc Ock gets the Sinister Six together.
No. Well, I've heard that Otto Octavius isn't even Doc Ock. Apparently, that Russian doctor or whatever, and this one's going to be Doc Ock.
Oh, hell no. Hell no.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, hell no. No, no. God, no.
Look, they've screwed up. They should have.
No. I hope
They should have done bloody Tobey Maguire Spider-Man
That guy
when they had the
sucked.
chance.
That guy is like one of those stereotype villains from like the Dr. Jones, Indiana Jones, and all these other things, like the mad scientist with the accent. That was so stereotypical, like the accent and then torturing people. That's stupid. That was dumb. Wasn't happy with that at all.
Or wasn't he Alex Smythe?
I don't like that guy either, and that's not what Alex Smythe is either.
Which one were you talking about?
I'm talking about the guy that's torturing Electro.
Oh, him.
He's not Doc Ock. Kafka.
Yeah, well.
Oh, but that was in the Spider
Yeah.
versus Spider Slays. That was stupid too, though. Like they ruined
So
it
much
too.
things I haven't explained. Like, Peter still hasn't found Uncle Ben's killer.
Yeah, like
They just left it there. Are they just going to
Nobody-
wait for him to become the Sandman in the
nobody
fourth one or
cares
something?
like about that. It's like
Yeah. And seeing, like, Peter literally learned nothing by the end of the movie. Like, he made the same freaking mistake as the first movie. Like, learned nothing
well, it
from the start of the
confuses
first
me
movie.
because now how could he ever have a relationship without worrying about she's gonna die? Wouldn't he be paranoid about that?
But he learned nothing. Like, Gwen's dad's look at the end of the first one, leave her out of it. Alright, end of the second one. Gets her into it, she does. Alright,
I think
at
what
the end of it.
that whole thing with the father making a promise to him, that ruined the whole concept because that didn't happen in the comics, and the fact that they kept breaking up didn't happen in the comics either. So
Yeah.
that ruined it, and that made it so hard now for him to have a relationship with anybody because he's going to think they're going to die every 5 seconds. See, in the comic, they were together, and the problem is that he had a cold when he fought the Green Goblin. Like, he was really sick. And because he was sick, he wasn't 100%. So when he fought the Green Goblin and everything, that was the whole thing of the comic. And people they were confused. Did the web snap the neck, or did the Green Goblin snap the neck? And I was always under the impression that it wasn't the web line, it was the Green Goblin. Now, a few years ago, they revealed
But in this
the
one, it
truth.
was the web line.
Well, even if he didn't grab the web line, she still would have died anyway from falling.
Yeah.
But the thing is that, you know, in the comic, the Green Goblin revealed, Norman Osborn, that it was so fun having you tortured with the guilt that you're responsible for killing Gwen Stacy when I threw her so hard that her neck snapped in the air.
Yeah.
So her neck snapped in the air with the Green Goblin. And no matter what he did with the web line, you know, that was it. So I don't like. He's a fan of that. That Spider-Man's responsible for death. I mean, dude, you're putting your own agenda in it, and it's not working. Because you know what? Now Sony made its thing. They says, "Oh, this is going to make $1 billion." Well, guess what? Now they're worried because they're saying it's going to be number 2 this week, and this week there's nothing there that should knock it to number 2. Nothing.
Neighbors.
Yeah, but that should not knock Spider-Man 2 down to number 2. Like,
because not that many people like the first one. Not that many people like the first one, and this one's getting bad critics' reviews.
But you know what, too? I mean, I like the movie, but the thing is that why doesn't he have a soundtrack? They had a soundtrack now, right? They made more emphasis on Electro and everybody else, but he sounded like a Captain America soundtrack. You know, it doesn't sound anything to do with the Spider-Man soundtrack. He's not Captain America. They're getting it wrong. Why can't they have Danny Elfman just put the soundtrack in there? They paid for it. Why can't they use that soundtrack? Why does it have to be...
Hey, come on, it's not too late to bring Toby back for round 4.
It's not too late to bring... In fact, you know what? Why can't they do what I said? A Shattered Dimensions movie. Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield in the same friggin' movie.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
Come on, you'd want to see Toby back again as Spider-Man.
I feel cheated. I got to tell you.
Yeah.
I do feel that, you know.
I feel the story wasn't over at the end of number 3. You just kind of felt like, wait, what's next? And that's it.
First of all, I want to have it where 3 never happened in the first place, because that was pressure where they threw Venom in there, and Venom was not anything to do with what he's in the comics. In the comics, he was stronger than Spider-Man because he was a bodybuilder besides being a photographer, and that strength augmented.
But do you know the Goblin? The Goblin was in this one less than Venom was in Spider-Man 3.
Yeah. I don't know.
Goblin was in one scene. He captures Gwen, drives her to the clock tower, drops her. Peter hits him, he falls over. That's it. He's done.
See, but now they ruined that dynamic too, because in the comics, well, now first of all, how is he going to have it if he faces off against him again? He's going to want to kill him. Like, how are they going to have Andrew Garfield do this? He can't joke around with him. He killed his girlfriend. So, like, what are you going to do now? And that you ruin their friendship.
Well, who's the villain in the third one?
In the comics, even though they were friends and different things happened, he was trying to be the approval of his father. But even if he was a Green Goblin, they were still friends up to a point. But then after a while, he started messing with him, like, deeply.
Yeah.
But and in the end, I guess he turned and he saved him, but sacrificed himself, Harry Osborn. And then his father came back from Europe. But there's no friendship now. It's completely shattered, and I don't even know how they're going to resolve this, to tell you the truth.
The best thing about the Raimi films was the fact that you saw the friendship of Harry and Peter go from real good friends in Spider-Man 1, and then they started becoming enemies in Spider-Man 2, then Spider-Man 3, that's when the friendship crumbled. And
see, I thought that the concept...
In another film.
I'm confused, because I thought that the reason why they cut Mary Jane was that they were going to kill Gwen Stacy off in the third one. So I'm like, I don't understand, why. What is the rush to kill her off? Like, why did you have to do it in this movie? Why couldn't you have a whole trilogy with Gwen Stacy? Like, why couldn't you do it in the next one where Norman Osborn,
well, you know what, this is their fault. Whilst Andrew Garfield is the perfect Spider-Man, they cast him as a teenager when he was 30 years old, meaning he's not going to be around to do another 8-9 movies. He'll be 50 by the time he gets to, like...
Well, we know that, but see, the problem is, too, that, I don't know, I'm just...
They really should have cast someone like Logan Lerman, who was like in their early 20s, and then they could have done it for like 20 years with him as Spider-Man.
I think they backed themselves into like 10 corners.
I think he shouldn't be making... This is the problem with filmmaking these days. When you're making movies, you're not making movies with the intention of you've got 50 more movies to come. With the Dark Knight trilogy, they made each Batman movie, like they made Batman Begins, Dark Knight Rises. They made each one with the intent that they were only going to make one movie, so they put everything they possibly could into that one movie and just try to make a good movie. See, with Spider-Man, it's like a soap opera. They're making the movies with the intention of making like a TV series with like 13 episodes, and they keep building on it like just a romantic drama kind of thing, and like keep adding things to solve later, but they never solve anything.
See, the whole thing with the Sinister Six is they suck now. To me, it's not like, worth the Sinister... After this movie, it's definitely not worth the Sinister Six movie, unless you want it to be a bomb.
Well, you do know... Every villain sucks so far. The Goblin sucked, the Rhino sucked, Electro sucked, Lizard sucked, and they're in the Sinister Six. There's only 2 more, Doc Ock and some other bloke.
Well, they said that Doc Ock and the Vulture are definitely the Sinister Six. Everybody else is completely different.
Also, that's it.
Possibly.
So number 3, it's going to be Black Cat, Vulture, and Doc Ock.
No, Black Cat's not in the Sinister Six. Black Cat's going to help him.
No, but she's going to be in the movie. Like, they're going to introduce her, like, in the movie.
Yeah, but I don't know how. She's totally different. Like, everything is totally different. Like, I'm not having
They're gonna
and you know what even makes was terrible? He said he infused his blood into the spiders, so that's why he got his powers, because his father put his blood in there. So that's why.
But now there will be no Miles Morales or Ben Reilly as Spider-Man, because Peter's the only one who can use the spiders.
There'll be no other Spider-Man, no.
Yeah, you won't get Ben Reilly or anything like that.
Well, Ben Reilly's a clone.
Yeah. Well, you could then.
They can clone Gwen Stacy, the Jackal, and everything.
Yeah, but
I'm not gonna do
why don't we just bring in Mysterio? Just bring in Mysterio, and then we'll love it there.
I don't know where they can go from here with this. I mean, I gotta say that I felt I was wrong I did love Jamie Foxx as Electro. I did like him. You don't like him?
Oh, I did like him.
I did like him a lot. But
I did think his story, literally after that scene where he's standing in Times Square, I felt his story just cut out, like it had no purpose apart from being captured. Like, what's the point?
yeah, but see, that's the thing. He's the main. This is why all these villains don't work. Okay, one villain. Okay, not three or whatever, but it was like the main villain was over, and the movie still had another half hour to go. That's why I don't understand what the hell was happening. And I'm like, okay. I'm looking at my watch. I'm like, what are we gonna talk for a half hour now? Like I didn't understand. And then I see the Goblin. I'm like, why? Like, okay, he's got the suit on. Here's the thing. He's got the suit on, right? So he's kind of cured while he's got the suit on, right? So now, if he's happy, and that's the whole purpose, right? That he's cured. What is he? Why is he on the glider doing things? Like, what is he doing? The whole purpose was to stop.
I'm going to kill Gwen.
Why?
I'm going to kill Gwen so that I can get your blood. So I can get your blood, I'm going to kill Gwen.
But he didn't need it while he was in the suit.
I know, it was sarcasm.
That's just, it's just, and he already knows that it didn't work.
Yeah.
But he injected himself.
Say what you want about Man of Steel and all that, but Man of Steel, it was simple. Zod versus Superman. It was him, came down with the crew, came to get Superman. But this, it's like fucking, it's not a story about the villains. Like, it's usually, superhero movies is a villain, which is basically a metaphor for all the other problems going on in the hero's life, and the villain is kind of like the physical presence of that problem that they're dealing with. In this, it's like they have all these problems, but then there's villains who are like literal, like comic book villains that they've just chucked in there to add on top of all their problems.
You know what bothered me? The massive storyline about the Spider-Man No More storyline. They kind of crapped on it because they did it in this movie.
Yeah.
At the end, it's like, I'm not Spider-Man now no more. But there was not even. It wasn't even like a build-up or nothing. It was just like.
That's what I was saying to you before. They should have ended the movie where Gwen died and spent the whole next movie with Spider-Man No More.
Right, you didn't know what was happening, you know what was going on through his head, like whatever, and just end it. They should have just ended it. When she died, it should have been like him over the grave or something, and then just he takes the costume.
I don't even reckon that. Just like leave it there, just with him standing over the body in the clock tower. Just cut it. End. Like Empire Strikes Back, just like all defeated. Just end it there.
No, but I would have did it where he went to the cemetery, the whole deal. You got to see him, and then he just throws the suit out, and then just ends it.
Yeah.
And then after the credits thing, you see little things, but it was just not. It was not a good ending. Like with the Rhino, I was like, all right. And why did you show every scene of the Rhino on the trailer?
That's what I was just about to say. They showed the last frame of the movie in the trailer. The last frame of the movie is in the trailer.
Bad.
Literally, they literally show him swinging with the
I like the movie. Don't get me wrong, it's not a bad
train thing.
It's just that maybe I'm a little too critical as a writer, and you know we're so cheap
to
talk to.
They threw too many things in there to try to please comic fans. That's the problem. It's all about pleasing the comic fans.
And you know what, too? The sad thing is that it does good enough to get a sequel, but it's wrong. So how many times are you going to do things wrong just to make it like, oh, you know? And now you have a storyline like with Avengers 2 with Age of Ultron. It's a time travel storyline. So, like, how are you going to do that now?
Well, Age of Ultron.
Ultron takes over the world and takes over everybody. So now they had a time travel thing. And that was just... Yeah, but you know what? They sent Wolverine back in time, but that's like Days of Future Past Avengers stuff. So, like, Wolverine's not in it. So I'm like, all right, whatever. I've got a headache.
What are they going to do? They're going to send Tony Stark back in time?
No, they fail. So, like, he takes over the world. So then it's like, oh, and it's like people dying and everything, and it's like really bleak and dark and everything. And then they got to somehow they go back in time and they change. I don't know. To build division, whatever. I don't know. They can turn into.
Well, apparently X-Men's awesome. I've heard X-Men's awesome. That's what I've been told.
Yeah, I can't wait for that. I told you I was looking forward more to X-Men than Spider-Man 2. Honestly, remember?
Oh no, I was, of course. X-Men's a much bigger movie. Spider-Man feels like a little movie. It feels like a little movie because it just feels really small for some reason.
And I'm the biggest Spider-Man fan there is, but I just
cool.
People have to understand that I've been reading the comic for how many decades, and then you see, I want it to be treated right, you know. And they did get it right with certain things. With Andrew Garfield joking with them, that's what has to happen. Constant joking around. Now he can't joke around. But he can't joke around with the Green Goblin now. You can't.
Yeah. But wasn't it cheesy when he did the web and then a hand reached out with the web trying to grab Gwen?
Was terrible. That was terrible.
Some of the dialogue was terrible. Like the script was terribly written.
Yeah, I know.
But the thing is,
I did like when Gwen Stacy hit Electro with the car. I loved that.
Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah, and she was talking, and my girlfriend was saying to me, she's like, "That's me. You know, that's me." I'm like, "Yeah, it's true. Like that's the way my girlfriend is. Like just like you not even know the situation, or whatever." But
this is the thing though. Spider-Man, The Amazing Spider-Man and Amazing Spider-Man 2 are not classics. Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2 with Tobey Maguire, you will watch them in 30 years and remember. And these movies feel like they will be outdated within 5 years. Like you watch it and it will just feel dated.
You know remember how Star Wars gave you the chills when it's like, and like the whole thing with the words coming up, right?
Yeah.
I got that.
Yeah.
With Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2 with the music. Dun, 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 dun. I love that. I could watch that a million times, but with Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2, I can't. I probably could watch
Amazing Spider-Man 2. Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man.
Huh?
Stop the bus, and he's smacking the bus. Stop the bus.
Yeah, I know. Amazing Spider-Man 2, I probably would see 2 more times, and that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not one of those movies where in 30 years you're going to look back and say that was an all-time classic.
No.
No.
I don't want to rip it apart. I mean, the thing is, I like the movie, but I don't want to rip it apart where people are like, "Oh, Matrix." But I mean, is it wrong to say it was like kind of half? It was half-ass in certain things.
Yeah,
it really kind of
was. It was just, I don't know. I think superhero movies are really dying out.
See, now, you know what, not for nothing? Yeah, you got to reboot it again because you ruined it. Like, you backed yourself in the corner. Spider-Man's supposed to joke with the villains. Now he can't joke because the guy just killed his girl. It's like, you know.
Did you laugh when he was whistling the Spider-Man theme song when he was tying up Electro Rhino at the start?
Yeah, that was cool, but, I mean.
But the thing is, they already used that joke. Yeah, he's good. But the thing is that they already used that joke in the original Spider-Man movies when the woman's playing violin in Spider-Man 2.
I don't know why they're doing all this. He's hugging Harry. I'm like, it's like weird. And why are you crying the whole movie? Why are you crying? Looking about his dad, his mom. I understand, but like this is too much. Like, is it about him as Spider-Man, or is it about Peter Parker the whole movie? Like, I just don't.
It's always since they announced it, it's just been an uncomfortable feeling in my stomach. Like, it doesn't feel right that they rebooted it so quick. Like, it still feels like it's 2 Spider-Man series going at the same time. It doesn't feel right for some reason. Like, it still feels like Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man is still the real Spider-Man, and this is just some.
See, I would have a headache writing the third movie now. I would have a massive headache because if you're going to make him miserable the whole movie, it's going to be depressing. And then if you decide,
the whole point of the ending of the movie, which is why the whole point I was so pissed with the ending is because they basically said, "Oh, get over it now." Gwen said, "Oh, everyone dies, so don't worry about it." So
it took 5 months.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, it took 5 months. Everything's cool.
Yeah. Like, why do that? Like Dark Knight. I thought they should have had a Dark Knight ending. They should have had a Dark Knight ending where he's not Batman anymore, like he's not Spider-Man anymore. They should have done that.
I mean, it's not believable because if anybody had went through loss like we all have, it's not 5 months. And it's just, I don't know, man. And you're not like whistling Dixie after it's over. Hey, I'm back. That's a movie thing. I mean, you're trying to be.
And this is the thing they say on the AMC Movie Talk. They said, how stupid are the people of New York? They just stand there when there's a fucking rhino walking through the city.
First of all, not for nothing, people in New York would not just stand there. They'd be
That
throwing
woman
stuff
doesn't even
at him.
hold her kid. The kid's like 6 years old, and she just lets him run off
Yeah, but
towards
look
the
at Sam
rhino.
Raimi's movie. Remember they all attacked Dr. Octopus in New York?
Yeah,
Like, they all did.
yeah,
And the Green Goblin, they attacked him. That's what New Yorkers
yeah,
do. They'll rip your
yeah,
throat out. Like, that's
yeah.
we're like tough. We're not going to be like standing there. So like you would know
But it's
that.
like
Sam Raimi captured that perfectly. But
it's like the villains don't ever. It's like the villains are just there, just so Spider-Man can get his ass kicked like halfway through the movie here and there. You
they're
know,
just thrown in. It's like there is no story.
like the good thing about Spider-Man 2, Doc Ock. That was the story. It was Doc Ock came, right, did his thing. He was doing his thing at the same time. Peter was doing his thing. Then at the end, he did something that motivated Peter to go, all right, I've got to come back as Spider-Man now. And then that triggered that storyline, and then everything came together at the end.
Right. See, not
But
you know,
here,
not for
it's just-
nothing. Reading Dan Slott's comic, like he really is a fan of Doc Ock, and they really built up that villain to crazy monumental proportions in the comic, where because he's such a
Yeah,
jerk and a nasty, egotistical, he decides that with the arrogance, hey, I'm in Peter Parker's body. Let me see if I could be a better. Actually, he believes he's a better Spider-Man than Peter Parker was, and he actually attempts it, but in a villainy sort of way. And in the end, he knows he's not the superior Spider-Man because only Peter Parker could take on the Green Goblin and everything. So that would be
so
an
how did
awesome movie if they
how
did it
did
right.
that story end? How did Peter Parker come back to life?
Because Green Goblin had a conversation with Doc Ock that he knew that Doc Ock was in Spider-Man's body, and he basically destroyed everything that anybody would be remembered of Doc Ock. He destroyed his house, he destroyed his friends, he destroyed his all his arms, where there was no octopus arms, and he basically said, "You took from me the one thing that mattered, and that is Peter Parker and killing Spider-Man. So I am going to mess with you." He took his girlfriend, he took these people, he took that people that mattered to Doc Ock, and he kept messing with him. In fact, he showed how much better he was because Doc Ock had like these mini spider bots going throughout the city trying to warn him of crime. He kind of hacked into it where anytime the spider bots saw a goblin, they would do nothing. So he took over New York City completely. He freaking graffitied the bridge, Goblin Nation, and he was like, oh my God, I did worse than anybody could possibly have done as Spider-Man. So like his ego
how did
was
he
like,
come back?
well, in his arrogance to beat the Green Goblin, he felt, I'm going to beat the Green Goblin by killing myself and allowing Peter Parker that's inside my brain to surface.
So Peter was in the dead body of Doc Ock.
No, but there was a transfer where at the end he was able to go back in the body but not be in control.
So it's kind of like a split kind of thing.
Well, the thing was he was at times he was controlling, but then Doc Ock kind of wiped the memory of him, and he only had like one memory, so he was able to go into the recesses of the mind that Doc Ock couldn't see, you know. But then finally he knew of his existence in there, and he says, listen, the only way, like his ego was that he would be better at everything, and he wasn't, and he just couldn't have he couldn't let Green Goblin be like the top villain. So in a way, Peter Parker defeated Green Goblin, but Doc Ock won the day because he did that. Peter Parker came back. So it was like he erased himself completely. Doc Ock supposedly is completely erased with nowhere to go from Peter Parker's mind. So he's just deleted, like done. He's just dead, can't come back, whatever. And now Peter Parker has to deal with everybody that he was nasty to as Doc Ock. Like Mary Jane's now with some guy, and that's done. You know, his other girlfriend was done. Now Doc Ock had a relationship with this other girl that was his girlfriend while he's in Peter Parker's body, and now he has to deal with that. So, and then Mayor J. Jonah Jameson lost his being a mayor because Doc Ock tricked him. So now he hates Spider-Man again. So he lost his mayorship. So there's a lot of fallout now because of Peter Parker. Peter Parker got. Well, now another thing too, Peter Parker's got every education degree because Doc Ock finished his education. So now it's like, how do you have these degrees if it's not you, and you don't know any of the information now too? So it's kind of like all screwed up. Like he just doesn't know what to do now, and they have this big story.
So, like, do you think they could do this? Like, do you think they could do this after the Sinister Six movie, like Amazing Spider-Man 5?
I think they need to reboot the franchise. I'm sorry to say, I'm not a fan of reboots, but you need to focus on the Uncle Ben thing again. You need to focus on everybody has their individual powers, and Oscorp, even though it's big, it has nothing to do with any villain, period, other than the Goblin. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, I can't have that where you're ruining everybody's origins. Totally.
I would have preferred to have seen. I would have preferred to have seen Kingpin behind everything.
Well, now Mark Webb realized he screwed up, so now he's going in a completely different direction, getting the outsider, Kraven the Hunter, to come and kill Spider-Man. This is what he thinks.
Well, he's quitting. Mark Webb's only doing Amazing Spider-Man 3s, and he said he's not doing anymore.
No, but that's the villain of Amazing Spider-Man 3 so far, is Kraven the Hunter, because he can't do any villain because they're all linked to Oscorp. So he realized that he screwed up, so now he's bringing in Kraven the Hunter because Kraven the Hunter has nothing to do with Oscorp, and that's the only villain he could do. The only
Unless
villain
they make him an Oscorp security guard.
No, they can't. They're not doing that. He's not doing that. Definitely not doing
I hope
that.
not.
No, they're definitely not doing that.
Well, what about Scorpion?
I don't know, but you know what they're doing with Kraven, right? He's going to bury Spider-Man alive, which you're getting really dark now. Like, he actually thinks he kills him, but he appears dead. And then he dresses like I don't know, whatever. It's just I don't know what they're doing, and I don't know how. I really don't know how this is going to happen. Like, I think they really backed themselves into a corner. I'm not even happy that Oscorp invented the web shooters. Like, Oscorp
he didn't invent them. Oscorp invented them.
That's what I'm saying. They didn't invent the web shooters in the comic.
Yeah.
It was him. So, like, I don't understand why they did that too.
Yeah. So many things. Like, so are they done with the story of Parent now? Is that just finished?
No. That's not done.
Where did it go with now?
The Venom symbiote.
Oh God, here we go.
Then it's not an alien. They're gonna make it, you know.
Oscorp.
But
why? There's no need for it. Like, just come on, just do it normally. When it comes from space, the son of what's James? John Jameson goes to space.
Well, no, he becomes the wolf, the man wolf.
Yeah.
But they didn't even do that in the movies.
Like, do you remember the old Spider-Man cartoon from the 90s where they go to space and they find the symbiote while they're on the moon?
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved it. That was a classic cartoon.
Yeah, yes. Well, they took from the cartoon. Look, J. Jonah Jameson was mayor from the cartoon, and they put that in the comics now.
Yeah.
And a lot of stuff like Shattered Dimensions.
They had like yeah.
Well, look what they did.
They had like Madam Web and stuff in that old show.
They showed in one of the alternate realities that Doc Ock was Spider-Man, and I guess maybe that's why Dan Slott used that for his storyline. You know, I don't know.
They kind of made it like that universe became this universe.
Well, everybody saw that. Anybody who's anybody saw the cartoon.
Do you know what? Screw rebooting the franchise. Cancel it. Sell it to Marvel. You'll be right.
Yeah, Sony's never doing that, but you know what I would do? I would just...
Then again, you say it's never going to happen, but if this movie fails, then the next movie fails.
But if it's two universes, right? Like, there's no rules. So why can't you just do a Sam Raimi 4? Yeah. Why not? So what? I mean, if you can have Sinister Six and Venom, and why can't you do the other universe Spider-Man? I don't know. Why not? Why not have the best of both worlds? You have Tobey Maguire, Kirsten Dunst, James Franco bring back even, and then do both of them at the same time, and then have a Shattered Dimensions movie, and link them together.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Grab
I
Toby
would
before it's too
I'd
late.
pay a lot of money to see Toby again.
Do you imagine
Get
how much
Toby
money?
back. Come on, kids.
Do you imagine how much money Sony would make if they had Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man and then a thing that linked both their universes together?
Yeah.
And you could even get the guy to play Doc Ock as, in the movie too. Like you could bring him back.
Do you reckon that what they could do? Do you know, theoretically, get Marvel to bring Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man into the Avengers?
That would be awesome. See,
So, like,
thing is,
say
they're
that
trying
Tobey
to work
Maguire,
it.
Sam Raimi's universe existed in Marvel Universe.
They're trying to work it where I heard, but now this guy's saying he's stopping all crossovers. But why can't Spider-Man just be an Infinity Gauntlet? He's supposed to be.
Yeah. Well, Civil War's supposed to be coming up, isn't it?
No, they're not going to do that now.
No.
Infinity Gauntlet's 3. Infinity Gauntlet's 3. Thanos.
And then they're done. Or are they going to keep going?
No. 4 is a new roster. They're going to do like
Jeez.
Avengers. What was it? Avengers 100 with Scarlet Witch, Vision. Everybody knew except for no Captain America, no Iron Man, no Hulk. All new roster. All new roster.
So the only movie universe that's going to actually work and it's going to keep going without having to reboot is Star Wars. That's the only one that's going to work properly.
We hope so.
The reason it's going to work is because
everybody's
you don't have
thinking
to. It's not.
The mentality of threes, right? No longer applies.
Yeah.
So everybody's thinking Captain America 3 is it. No, Captain America 4 is supposed to be the Red Skull coming back with an alien Nazi army. They said it. They said they're saving him for a while. So Captain America 4 is supposed to be the Red Skull. They're making a huge...
I thought that was number 3.
No. Red Skull's coming back in 4.
Well, what's number 3 then?
It's gonna. I don't know. They're talking about Cap versus Cap, or the Captain America from the 50s was a psychopath, and he's gonna be Captain America, and they're gonna revive him, and he's gonna battle himself. I don't know what the hell. Just weird stuff.
Well, because they're surely chucking Iron Man in there if they could get Robert Downey Jr. back.
Iron Man's not gonna be in Captain America 3.
Yeah, well, I said, because you know they got Batman vs Superman the same day?
Yeah.
They're basically like, Marvel's like, well, why don't we have Iron Man versus Captain America on the same day?
Well, that was the thing in the comic. There's a little rivalry, remember that? They were, and actually Iron Man kicked Captain America's butt.
Yeah,
because the technology, he just paralyzed him for like hours.
After this, I'm keen for Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah. I think people are going to be surprised
be
with that. I think it's going to become so huge because what other space movies do you have other than Star Wars and Aliens?
Star Wars.
Like, there's nothing out there now. And people are dying. Their mouth is watering for space movies. Like, we had little movies throughout the years like Event Horizon and different things, but after Gravity, too, everybody wants space stuff. Like space movies.
Yeah.
That's why Battlestar Galactica is being rebooted and coming back.
Yeah. Well, we've got Star Wars coming up, so that's going to definitely tickle some people's fancies.
And honestly, you're going to get an announcement that Aliens is going to come back too. Probably with Sigourney Weaver.
Alien 5.
Is it 5?
As long as it's not like that weird clone thing again.
I think you're going to find that. I don't know why. I wish James Cameron could do it again. I don't know why he's so busy
well, he's
with
doing Avatar too.
Why he's so busy with that? Honestly, that's going to drop off. He thinks it's going to be like Star Wars, but him. That's going to drop off.
No.
It's going to drop off.
No.
You don't think it's going to drop off? No?
Yeah. No. I hate Avatar. I thought it was a terrible
Avatar 2 is going to... Listen, this is what's going to happen. Avatar 2 is going to drop, and then he's going to be like, oh, let me rethink this strategy. And then he's going to go do
He's going to go to the old Alien 5,
The only reason
surely.
Avatar did so well is because 3D, the ticket is double what a ticket would be.
Yeah.
If you didn't have the 3D, money that he brought it back for 3D, it probably was still made money, but not anywhere near that.
You wait for Star Wars in 3D.
That failed already. They tried that.
I know, I'm saying, like, they bring a new Star Wars movie in 3D, Episode 7 in 3D, that'll make some money.
Well, they hopefully have to do it right this time.
Yeah, well, we'll see. But I've heard Darth Plagueis is the villain, so...
So now what is it that the Sith was suspended in animation and somebody awakens him? Or
Never
something?
heard of that one. I heard something along the lines of Plagueis, because you know how they said in Episode 3 he could stop people from dying and all this kind of stuff?
Yeah.
Like Plagueis, it was some sort of thing that was going on, like Plagueis was resurrected or something, and did you ever read the Star Wars books? Like, they're not canon now, but did you ever read the
I read Heir
Yuzong
to the
Vong?
Empire, Dark Force Rising, and Heir to the Empire, Dark Force Rising, and Last Command with Timothy Zahn.
Well, the story with this Yuzong Vong War thing was basically, we find out that the reason the Empire built the second Death Star in Episode 6 was because the Emperor saw into the future that this Yuzong Vong army was coming in to basically eradicate the universe.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's basically what happened in the books. And then this big war went on in the Star Wars universe for years with these Yuzong. They basically look like, if you've played the game Halo, they look like the big villains out of that, like these huge juggernaut things. Well, they're huge. They're basically like giant big hulks in armor, and they've just got massive weapons and they can blow crap up.
So in other words, the Sith and the Jedi are against them?
Well, that's kind of what goes on. Well, it would make sense for the Sith and the Jedi to team up in the final trilogy, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Because you've gone the thing where the good guy becomes the Sith becomes the good guy, but now what do? They've got to team up to defeat the ultimate evil in the final trilogy.
Right.
Which would make sense, but we'll see how it goes.
I heard so many rumors for like 7. I heard like a whole scene where it starts off in Tatooine with Boba Fett and Carbonite, and you find like Emperor's alive. And my whole thing is like if he could leap from platform to platform with Yoda, why would he? I mean, I guess you threw him into the reactor, but why wouldn't he clone himself? Like, I don't know. I would think that the one that died was not the real Emperor. That was a clone, because he could see into the future. So
yeah,
he's alive.
I still want to know, why did Darth Vader die?
Is it electricity?
Yeah, but he only copped a little bit. Luke copped so much of that electricity and he was fine.
I mean, first of all, Disney's like, oh, there's no other villain other than Darth Vader, so they make it like Darth Vader's a villain, but how could that be his ashes? Unless, of course, the Darth Vader and Emperor are not the real Darth Vader and Emperor that died in Jedi.
Yeah, well, it must be, because otherwise that's going to ruin the story of Jedi completely, isn't it?
Well, just imagine that Luke is sitting in his chambers as a Jedi Master, and in comes Darth Vader and just kills him in like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
That would be sick. But
from what I know, they're going for completely new villains. That's what I've heard.
Yeah, but it doesn't make sense.
I can see the only way I can see Darth Vader is in Darth Vader's spin-off movie.
Which I always wanted to see, by the way.
Yeah, so. I can see in between Episode 3 and Episode 4 a Darth Vader movie like Force Unleashed a bit.
But if you notice the Revenge of the Sith, they put it in there as a possible spin-off movies that Yoda sent a distress call for the Jedi not to come back and to go hiding. So that leads the whole Darth Vader movie where he's hunting down every Jedi, where when it ends, Darth Vader 1, 2, and 3, the only Jedi is Yoda, that's on Dagobah, and Ben Kenobi, and that is it, because they basically said there was no Jedi left other than Yoda and Ben Kenobi. That's it. So there are hundreds of Jedi out there right now.
There is this new Rebel series where you've got a Jedi in it.
See, he keeps contradicting himself. That he keeps changing everything. You know?
Yeah, because did you talk about how the Star Wars canon was redefined?
I tried to explain that to Daniel, that all the stuff with the books, don't even think that that's going to be
Yeah,
in the movies.
because in Star Wars, there's 6 levels of canon, which is like the official Star Wars history, what really happened.
Right.
There's the movies, which is the top. Then there's the TV series, and then there's the books, and then there's the video games. Then there's like the comics and stuff.
Yeah.
Basically, what they've done now, they've said anything that's not a movie or the Clone Wars isn't canon.
But the
So the
animated
only
series
official-
is not canon to the movies.
It is now. Officially
now?
now they've said Star Wars has. There's one Star Wars canon that they've made. Star Wars is just one canon now. Clone Wars is canon. So Darth Maul is alive.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Wow.
Basically, Clone Wars is canon, Rebels is canon, so they're saying the Inquisitor, who's the villain in Rebels, could be the villain in Episode 7.
Okay.
And the guy, the Max von Sydow character, the really old guy who's been cast in it,
Yeah.
they're saying he could be the cowboy Jedi who's the main character in Rebels, who's a lot older in Episode 7 now. Because it's a kid's cartoon. I don't see them killing off the main
So he's a
character in a
good guy?
kid's
He's
cartoon.
not a bad guy?
That's what I've heard, unless he's Darth Plagueis, which I've also heard.
Now, Darth Plagueis was the master to Darth Sidious, which was the Emperor. I mean, like, that was his mentor.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so in other words, he somehow reconstituted himself, like he came back to life?
Well, basically what they said was that, if you watch Revenge of the Sith, they basically say that Plagueis is the one who used the midichlorians to create life. So they're basically saying, because of Plagueis, Anakin was born. Plagueis created Anakin.
I thought they were saying that he learned how to do that as the Emperor. Well, before he was the Emperor,
No.
and he's the one that created Anakin.
No, what they were saying is, what he said to Anakin, he said Darth Plagueis was a Sith Lord who was so powerful he could create life using midichlorians.
So he created. Let me
basically
get this
saying
straight.
that
He
Anakin-
created Anakin as his new apprentice, and Palpatine killed him because of that, because he wants to be the main one.
Yeah.
So he does a reversal where he makes him his apprentice, and puts him in line where you don't become more than me.
Basically. So then Palpatine said that Plagueis died, but how do we know Plagueis' consciousness wasn't trapped in something like that? How do we know in Star Wars 7 isn't a storyline like Doctor Who Pandorica opens, where Plagueis is trapped in like a big Pandorica's box kind of thing?
That could be it.
Like trapped away. Like how do we know there's not
But that's
some
what
big
I'm saying
space
with the
prison
suspended
with-
animation thing. That's what I'm trying to say. That, like, it's trying to explain it where he's there. He's somewhere suspended, and he's awakened. This ancient evil, like he's been whatever. Like somehow he just comes back because he's not dead, or the Emperor thought he killed him, or Palpatine, but he didn't.
Yeah.
So he's just trapped because he needs some way to get energy back or something.
Well, if the Sith are in this, it's going to be Sith that's way like thousands of years old because of the Rule of Two that was invented. But the Rule of Two is not canon anymore, even though it was in Episode 1. So
Yeah, I like
I don't
that.
know about that, but
That's
if
not.
there is
You know
the
what?
rule
Too?
of two-
Remember that scene where he's with Darth Maul, and they're in that dark
Yeah.
area, and he's like, I really envisioned that there was a whole bunch of Sith walking around, like that was a Sith
Yeah.
area. And not that there's just two of them.
But
That
it
was
was-
stupid.
it was just Coruscant that they were on.
Yeah, I know, but. And you know what, too? When they do the Yoda spinoff, they gotta explain what the hell happened in the cave, who he killed as a Sith. That
It was
made
just
that
a
place
fantasy.
distorted, huh?
It was just a fantasy, wasn't it?
No. There was a evil that died there, a Sith, that caused a disruption in the Force. That when Luke was there, they were able to use that as a training ground, but there was evil that was there, like an evil spirit, evil, and it took the form of Darth Vader and whatever, like when he was fighting him in the Dagobah, but
Yeah.
it wasn't strong enough to kill him. It was just like a haunting, So that's what it is. I mean,
Yeah.
he probably had a big battle in there. And
Well, the
he
thing is, there's a
defeated
huge gap. For that 20 years between Episode 3 and Episode 4, I doubt Obi-Wan just sat in his little hut on Tatooine. I reckon
That's what-
Obi-Wan
They're saying that he had a
was doing
kid.
stuff. Well,
They
that's
say
what I heard.
he
I
had a
heard there's a
child.
rumor going around Obi-Wan Kid. But I've also been talking about the possibility of a movie basically where, because Darth Maul's canon now, Darth Maul goes to Tatooine to hunt Obi-Wan down and kills Obi-Wan's family on Tatooine during the gap between 3 and 4.
Right.
Could you imagine that? Kind of like a revenge kind of thing? Like Darth Maul wants revenge, so he goes and kills Obi-Wan's family in revenge for
Right.
cutting his legs off?
Yeah. Could be.
That would be sweet, because if you actually did it properly, it could actually, episode 1 would be even cool, knowing now there's this awesome movie about the revenge of what happened the first time.
Yeah.
But who knows? You got plenty of spin-off ideas. I mean, the Boba Fett one could be pretty awesome.
Yeah. I can't wait to see how they do Boba Fett.
Well, the last thing I heard, Joe Johnston, who wanted to direct it, like, this is way before Star Wars, like, the Disney bought it. Like, this was like when he did Captain America. He said, I want to do Boba Fett as my next movie, So if they hired him, that would be alright.
Yeah, Well, I want to see how they do Boba Fett, though. I don't know if it's going to be the original or somebody stole the armor or something.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Did you hear about that? How it was like the clone got his armor stolen by some random guy?
I heard that. That's why I'm wondering what they're going to do.
Who knows? Are they going to have him crawling out of the Sarlacc pit and doing further adventures, or are they going to do it before he becomes...
I would rather see him out of the Sarlacc pit, to tell you the truth.
Could you just imagine the movie starts with, like, just a little kid on Tatooine running near a pit, and then you just see this hand come out of the Sarlacc pit?
I would start the movie where he's flying right out of the Sarlacc pit, and then it goes... It would say, like, 30 years ago. And then, maybe they would show that whole scene, and then he just flies out.
Because what I was saying, I was on the Reddit, on the forums the other day, and someone asked the question, are they going to get rid of the Star Wars title scroll a long time ago on the opening credits? I said basically, no, I said no. I said, however, the main saga movies have to all look cohesive like that. But I said spin-off movies don't necessarily have to look like that.
No, they don't.
I said just the main Star Wars saga has to all look like it's one big thing.
They could have,
episodes.
With the Boba Fett thing, they could have it where he gets out of the Sarlacc pit, but he's so dying, and then someone steals the armor. Yeah. But that would be stupid, though. I don't know. Whatever. Like, he flies off, he crashes, and he's all bloody, and then the guy just steals his armor from him.
Or like you can make it Jango Fett, and Jamie Foxx walks over, takes his armor, Jango!
Yeah. I want to see. I want to see more about how Liam Neeson's Qui-Gon in Death was learning more training with Jedi to communicate with the living.
Yeah.
And he was the first one to be able to do that.
Because after the Jedi die, they all go to the Netherworld or whatever, but Qui-Gon learned how to communicate back to the real world.
Yeah.
Basically.
But then wouldn't the Sith be there too, or no?
No, because... Ooh,
No?
I don't know.
Would that be like another plane of existence where they're battling? Could that be another plane of existence where they're battling the Sith in this area?
Who knows? I don't see them going along that storyline because it would just be too weird. Just to watch a bunch of afterlife crap on.
It would be too deep, yeah.
Yeah. I think keep it basic, Episode 7 just has to be a basic, story. They've just got to go rescue the princess or something like that again. Just something basic.
I don't think we're going to have that, honestly, but...
Nah. Unless, Princess Leia gets captured again, or she gets killed at the start of it.
I honestly think that they're going to all die.
Yeah. I don't see...
Or they all die except for Han Solo.
Han Solo.
What?
Yeah, he'll die.
He'll die. Or they keep him
The only one who stayed through to all three, the only one who's going to stay through is going to be Luke Skywalker, if anyone. Yeah.
That'd be crazy.
Because you can't make him lose all that weight and then get rid of him.
Chewbacca dies too?
Well, I don't know. I have a feeling Han and Chewie will die in the Falcon together.
Yeah, I think so. And she'll be separated
Han will say to Chewie was going to sacrifice himself, and Han will be like, I'm not leaving you, Chewie. He'll give him a hug, and they'll both cry.
Leia will probably be in there too. I would think all three of them will be in there.
Well, what's going on with Han and Leia's kids then?
Yeah, but is that canon anymore?
No, that's not. Nothing's canon now. But there's the characters in the movie are going to be their kids. It's got to be.
But is it going to be Luke's kids, or is
Both.
it going to be both? Yeah, but
Cousins.
they're not going to call them friggin' Anakin and all that crap, right? Because that's
No,
confusing.
no, that's not. Nah, that's not
friggin'
confirmed.
confusing.
Yeah.
You know, people are going to get so confused, like, they're going to be calling Anakin Skywalker, Ben Skywalker. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, you know...
Well, apparently that, what's his name? John Boyega, the dark-skinned guy, the English guy.
Yeah.
Apparently he's going to be Luke's adopted son. Like, they're saying Luke never got married after Episode 7, and he adopted a guy who could use the Force or whatever, and that young kid's his.
Oh, no. I don't know.
So you could go for something like that, like... But at the same time, it could be like it's all about you could involve the movie around a character who's a normal person, you know, and everyone else in the movie is Jedi. It's about them proving that they still mean something, even though they don't have all these Jedi abilities.
So they're not going to have it where like there's Skywalker kids and one of them turns bad.
Well, you don't know. It would be a cool idea to go with.
I heard that he has a daughter, and his daughter wants to be like her grandfather, Darth Vader, and bring back the Sith.
Yeah, I heard that, but from what I understand, it's going to start off and the Sith are already going to be there. You're not going to have to do all that crap.
And another thing, too, the whole thing with the clones. You're not going to create the clones to create an army. Why wouldn't you do it to extend your lifespan? Like, why they did that in the comics. Why wouldn't the Emperor do that to clone all kinds of... I don't understand why he wouldn't
cloning,
do that.
like, his consciousness isn't cloned. Like, if he dies and he's got a clone out there, he, as a conscious being, dies, but the clone...
But why couldn't he put his consciousness in the clone body?
Well, why doesn't he just stay as him and just let his clone go do all the dirty work?
Because his body's getting older, so wouldn't he want to have a new body?
Well, Sith never die. They're fucking old, aren't they?
Oh.
Like, he wasn't that old, you got to remember. He just had a burnt-out face from Episode 3.
Yeah. He used up all his energy to, like, really, a lot of energy to just...
Yeah, basically. But, like, when you think about it, why is the Emperor not around in Episode 4 and 5? Where is he? Why is he not coming anywhere?
Exactly.
Why would he all of a sudden decide to go look at the Death Star? Unless he knew that he was going to die there. He knew that something needed to happen.
Well, see, I got the impression that he saw a different future. But maybe he saw so far ahead that he...
Yeah, they did say that in the movie. They did say that in Return of the Jedi, that he saw that Luke turned to the dark side and whatnot.
So, maybe he does, but he just got the years wrong.
Yeah, you never know. But I want to know where was the Emperor between 3 and Episode 6? Where was he the whole time? Why was he hiding?
Maybe he broke the rule.
Where was the Emperor's throne? Where was the Emperor, like, where did he live?
You know what I think? I think that thing is out the window with the always two there are, because the moment he became the Emperor with Anakin, with Darth Vader, I think he brought back the Sith all over the place. Like, basically, when he was not there in Star Wars and Empire, like the Emperor, he was training all kinds of Sith.
You never know, eh?
And you're going to find that out that, oh my God, this whole time, this is where he was.
Yeah.
Because Han Solo didn't know anything about the Emperor. I mean, they heard about the Emperor. Nobody's seen him.
It's possible. Yeah.
A whole planet.
I could see them doing that,
Sith.
like you were Sith the whole time.
Like
full Sith, like all over the galaxy.
It would be like 30 years of training. And then finally it's like, done, now let's go. It's like maybe that was a thing where the Emperor said, listen, you're all going to be training and you will not engage the Jedi for at least... Because the whole thing about the Sith is that they're lasting power. They'll sit in the background for like 100 years, 200 years. Like even Palpatine was growing into the Senate and then it became... You know what I'm saying? Like, they are patient.
So you're saying...
They're patient.
How do you not know that the whole time the Emperor had a spy in the Rebel Alliance?
Right. But my thing is,
how do you not know? How do you not know?
The Sith blocked him and everybody from seeing certain things. So it could be, just imagine if there's a whole planet of Sith that so darkness that it shields the whole location and whatever's going on of the Sith to Yoda and everything else. That would mean that the movie starts off where this is what's the plan. You know, we're going to train, we're going to build up our army for 30 years, and then boom, we're going to strike the Rebel Alliance. You know, and the thing is that they don't even know, the Sith, that the Emperor and Darth Vader are dead. They were just told, train, whatever, and then take over the Empire, and it's just like annihilation. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It could be that type of movie.
Could you imagine if we find out this whole time something like Han Solo was working for the Emperor, like they sent him on Tatooine to take Luke and that to the Death Star?
Never happened.
Who knows?
They won't do
Lando
that.
Calrissian. Lando, they made him blow up the second Death Star, so because they already knew the rebels had beaten them once. So they're like, how are we going to be able to
that because they didn't know what to do with Han Solo's character.
Yeah, they did. They basically
I don't think he was meant to be awakened in Jedi, and I think that people were outraged that Han Solo was frozen or whatever. So they brought him back, but because just think about it. George Lucas had changed his original vision based on fans, right? So like people complaining, oh, Han's a hero. He didn't shoot first, so he listened, okay. But then he probably had the idea when he was frozen carbonite, okay, he never had it where he was going to wake up at all. And people flipped out because they Han Solo backpack, Han Solo costume, Han Solo. He's like, oh my God, I can't kill him off, or I can't keep him frozen. So he already had the script, so he's like, oh, let me just run there, you're blind, run here, go here. But that's why Lando was the hero of the movie, because they never had him, and so he didn't want to change the scripts. Because he wanted Han to be with Leia.
Han Solo didn't have any character development in Return of the Jedi. He was just there.
He was just like a stormtrooper, in a way.
Yeah. He was just there to lead the rebels. It could have been anyone leading the rebels on the planet.
Right. And the thing is that all of a sudden, Leia's developing like force powers, which is like seeing into the future or seeing like him suffering Luke, and let's go back for him. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So that's another plot point. But I didn't like Leia in the third one. Like she's sitting all dressed up like Ewok attire, whatever how she's doing, and she's like,
like literally the only character that meant anything in the third one was Luke. It was just Luke again. That was Luke's story.
The whole thing with the Ewoks was a freaking mistake. I couldn't stand that. I would have rather seen Chewbacca's people, but
that would have made sense, wouldn't it?
It took away from it, the Ewoks, honestly, because it was too commercial and too action figure-y.
It was too funny. The last battle was bloody funny. You were laughing at the last battle.
It was funny, and it wasn't supposed to be.
Little bears running around.
You go from Empire Strikes Back, and then you got little Ewoks running around. I'm like, oh, what's that?
I went to last Sunday. I think it was Sunday. I went to it was a marathon at the movies of all three of the originals.
Right.
Bloody, it's awesome movies. They're the greatest films of all time. But then, like, there's Ewoks in it, and it just feels so out of place.
I used to laugh because it was good, but it wasn't, it could have been so much more, but you didn't care. You're like, oh, just like when Iron Man with the Mandarin, you didn't care. That was just funny, but...
They always fuck it up with the third movie.
Wow. Yeah, Superman 3 was like, oh! Alien 3 was like, oh, hi.
Superman 3 was...
Except for Indiana Jones. The third Indiana Jones was good. But then the fourth one, Crystal Skull,
Yeah, terrible.
Oh, my God.
You remember Superman 3 with Richard Pryor?
Oh, please. I don't even want to remember that. It's bad.
That was terrible. Superman 4 was worse.
Yeah, it definitely was worse. But we were supposed to get Bizarro for number 3.
You do know that X-Men Days of Future Past is basically a reboot of X-Men?
Yeah, I know.
Like, the universes, like the timelines, what happened in history is all being changed. Like, all that shit that happened in X-Men Last Stand never happened.
What I think is going to happen is I think aren't they going to split because of that? Where it's alternate universe.
I don't know. I think they're just basically going to wipe the originals and just go with the first class cast.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll find out.
Because they're basically saying that Hugh Jackman doesn't want to do any more. The older cast are getting old as it is. Let's just get rid of all that. And
But why does he have to? Why does he have to? I mean, I know it's so tough to training and everything, but here's my thing, right? If you're going to train like that, then line it up. Do 3 movies in a row, because if that training is so hard, and if you're talking about X-Men 5, 6, 7, you're talking about X-Men Days of Future Past, X-Men Apocalypse, whatever, line up the movies. Be smart enough to say, okay, the next time we see Hugh Jackman is going to be the final time as Wolverine. So what we're going to do is, he didn't sign the contract to be Wolverine 7 times for $100 million or more. So we'll give him 3 movies. Wolverine 3, X-Men and X-Men, and they can even finish it off like they're killing the character in the comics, where they kill him off in the last movie.
Yeah.
And then that's it. There's no way for him to come back if he's dead. So
it would have made sense to do. They should have done X-Men. Should have done X-Men Apocalypse as First Class 2 and have them fighting Apocalypse in the 80s or whatever.
Yeah, but is that true though that they're merging? They're doing like an onslaught thing, but having Magneto merge with Apocalypse. They're not doing that?
No, not doing it. They should have done. It should have gone X-Men First Class, The Wolverine, X-Men Apocalypse, Wolverine 3, which is Old Man Logan. Then they should have ended the original X-Men in X-Men Days of Future Past, but it's not essentially ending it because it makes sense. You're basically ending that but continuing the other one that already exists within that. So it's like still one big movie series, but it's essentially rebooted within its own series.
First Class 3.
Yeah.
And I heard that they are going to do an X-Men 4. That would be, of course, that would be Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen's final one, obviously. But I heard
X-Men First Class 3, X-Men 4 is going to be X-Men First Class 4, and it's going to be like the same movie. X-Men 4 is First Class 4.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't hear that. I heard that X-Men, they're going to actually do a movie with the older cast.
No, I heard that after First Class 3, it's going to go to X-Men 1. They're not going to do X-Men 1, they're going to skip past all that because they've already done it, and they're going to go to one after Future Past, and they're going to make all of the young guys look old.
Really? That would be stupid to do that.
Yeah.
Well, no, they wouldn't
the
have
young guys, Patrick Stewart.
By the time they make those movies, it's going to be 10 years later anyway. So Fassbender's going to be older, McAvoy's going to be older, so you wouldn't even have to go too crazy. You know?
Yeah, probably.
Hold on, I got somebody at my door.
Too easy. Oh, kids, Bobby, I'm in control of the cast. How are you, kids? So what are your thoughts on chocolate milkshakes? I love chocolate milkshakes. Wait, there's a fly on my bed. I better get her off. She's a bastard. Alright. So kids, chocolate milk, kids, loving it, loving it.
What's up? All right, sorry about that.
Oh, you're back.
Yes.
Did you hear
I
that?
wasn't silent for 5 minutes.
Yeah, she was classic. I said a couple things, but then I tried to kill a fly, so
Oh, that's interesting.
she's dead. Anyway, did you hear that Max Landis is apparently writing the Power Rangers reboot?
Yeah, I announced that on the Everything Show that they're doing a movie.
Yeah,
And the
well,
Green
apparently,
Ranger is going to be back in the new Power Ranger TV show soon.
yeah, I know about that. But this new reboot, apparently, yeah, the guy who wrote Chronicle is apparently going to write it. So
Well,
that's all right.
That's all right. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. Let me get some box office numbers before we close this out. Let's see where Amazing is. Okay, Amazing Spider-Man. Wow, it's dropping like flies here. Amazing Spider-Man is only at 384 million worldwide. So, and they
Not worldwide, surely.
That's worldwide. 384 worldwide. Not 800 million, not a billion. 384 million worldwide.
I think Spider-Man's done.
You know what? They were worried, and they said that it may not even be number 2. I mean, it may not even be number 1 this week. I think it's done. I think it will finish out at 400 million. We're over. So.
Do you know what? Sell it back to Marvel.
They're not doing it, but let's just go by Spider-Man movie, because this is what I want to try to prove a point here with the viewers. The original Spider-Man movie, okay, did $821,708,551, right? That was Sam Raimi's first. Okay, remember that number, 821 million, okay? Please remember that number, okay? Now, the second Spider-Man did 783 million. All right, dropped off a little bit, but in in the States, it did 373 million in here, not worldwide, here, okay? So now we're going to go, so remember, worldwide 783, the other one 821, right? Raimi's third one, okay, did 890 million, okay? In the States, it did 336 million alone, okay? All right, keep that in mind. Now, we go with the reboot, okay? And worldwide, Amazing Spider-Man did 752 million, okay? Less than all of the movies put together, and it only did 262 in the States. So now we're seeing a decline. Now we're seeing that people are starting to feel they're not happy, because you just got to look at the numbers, and it shows, okay, there's no almost 400 million in the States, in domestic. It's dropping. And now we go to Amazing Spider-Man 2, and it's only at, and listen to this, 107 million in domestic total. Only 107 million. That's like a movie that they cost 30 million to make, and it's a hit, because you know the $100 million hits, you know, oh, it made 100 million, that's awesome, right? People forget that it cost 200 and something million to make Spider-Man 2. So you could consider it a failure based on the domestic total, that it was only at 107, and then the foreign money is 277 million, right? That is,
well, it has been out. It's been out in Australia for 3 weeks, almost a month.
But they don't get that full percentage of 277 million, because
only domestic counts. Your domestics really only.
I mean, they both. Okay, the deciding factor could be the foreign, like the whole worldwide, because that could determine. Okay, let's go a sequel anyway, right? And that was the case with Star Trek Into Darkness, the worldwide, the whole, you know, overseas, but
and Pacific Rim.
Right, and Pacific Rim could get a sequel because of that. But going by these numbers, if this continues to drop, they could say, but they're not. They already announced there's going to be a 3, so they kind of. Here's the situation. if they went by the numbers, there would be no sequel. But they already put it out there, and the egos will not allow themselves to look bad. So even if they didn't make one more dollar, they would have to make an Amazing Spider-Man 3 because they put it out there. It's going to be Amazing Spider-Man 3 and 4 and 6 and Venom. But here's the mistake now. At the end of the day, even though they made this announcement, they don't want to lose money. So, yes, because of their ego, they will make Amazing Spider-Man 3, but you will have dramatic changes. And if you don't, then you're going to have a drop, okay? And the dramatic change is this. You need a plot. You need a script. You need fans to approve of what's going on. You cannot be flashy on the TV. Oh, look, Electro. Oh, look. It's got to be a Sam Raimi story or some type of story. You can't. You didn't even have a damn soundtrack. Like you give a Captain America soundtrack for Spider-Man. Fired, okay? Fired. Get Danny Elfman back. Stop it with the ego. Swallow it. You paid for it and put it in there, okay? And if you're not going to bring Tobey Maguire, I mean, I like Andrew Garfield, whatever, but you ruined it because you backed him into a corner where the guy that jokes around now can't joke around, and that's what Spider-Man does. So now you ruined all the origins for Green Goblin and everything. So now what do? Now they're looking to, oh man, Oscorp created every villain there is, but not Kraven. So now we're safe. But you're not safe because you can't build a universe on crap. Okay, so while I liked the movie a lot, and I liked the whole Gwen Stacy thing was cool, they ruined every villain there was. They should have never showed anything to do with Vulture's wings, Doc Ock's arms, ruined the Black Cat, talked about the Venom symbiote. If you saw the screenshot where it said Venom or it said something, whatever. The guy just had an ego. He could not say with great power comes great responsibility. Maybe the movie's dumping because of that, because fans are pissed. Okay, great power comes great responsibility. Yeah. That's Spider-Man's trademark. You don't put the line in there. I could actually say, yeah, it dropped off because you made it foreign from the comics. Yeah, you put that in there and you start making it a little bit better. Maybe we'll see how good it does. But egos, I want to have my vision. I could not have that because of one friggin' line you couldn't put in the movie. So, not happy about that. But let's clear it up. Let's clear it up and let's just let's get this together with the villains.
So it's going to be obviously Venom. Venom's going to be the villain in Spider-Man 3, and then in Venom's movie, it's going to be Carnage as the villain.
No, I think that Kraven the Hunter.
Well, they're saying Flash Thompson was supposed to be freaking
or
Venom.
Be Doc Ock, Vulture, and Kraven. Don't know.
Jesus.
What happened? I lost you.
It's gone all frozen. Oh, it's right now.
Well, maybe. Why don't we? Okay, right. All right. We're gonna do the podcast for a few more minutes. Then we're gonna end it because I don't want to lose you. And then, plus, it's been going on for a long time. So
yeah, it's like 1 in the morning here anyway. So I'll get some sleep for a bit.
All right. So you want to end it?
And I'll probably yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So I think we covered pretty much everything.
Is it going to be #1 this week against Spider-Man?
I reckon Neighbors is going to take it.
Oh, bad news for Mark Webb. Bad news. 107 million.
It's screwed in 2 weeks' time. X-Men's going to kill it.
You know what? Going forward, no false advertisement, Sony. Don't advertise that he's fighting 3 villains.
Don't reveal everything in your trailer. Don't reveal everything in the trailer.
Every Rhino.
Don't put out 60 trailers.
You don't do it.
Too many trailers.
All the scenes you cut from the trailer, not cool.
Yeah.
No false advertisement no more. All right, guys. That's it. Take care. Bye for now.